Welcome back to the Quick Focus Blueprint program. I am your focus coach, Jim Quick, and how's your focus? Is it getting better? That is the goal. Progress. Remember that. And so I want to welcome you back to part 2. And we talked in the last lesson about this monster of the thing that diminishes our productivity and our focus and our concentration. The supervillain, if you will, called your inbox. And we talked about how to be able to manage your emails so it's not really hurting your productivity. Because really, what's one of the single greatest interruptions that kills your productivity? It's the constant messages that are coming through your personal and professional inbox. And some of you are getting 100 or more emails a day. And every single time you go to check it, we lose our focus and we lose our concentration. And we talked about it. Every time you do that, upwards of 20 minutes is lost just trying to regain your flow and your focus. So in the last lesson, we talked about 5 tips on how to be able to manage your inbox for greater productivity and more focus. Here, we're going to give you 5 more. So number 6, let's jump into it, is to set email boundaries and really stick to them. You want to do this with a level of respect because you deserve to respect your own time and focus. So to produce at your very best, you need to be interruption free. You need those chunks of time in order to get your valuable work done. You can't start something and then stop it every minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes that you get an email. So understanding that email is addictive, which it very is for many people. When you understand that email can be very addictive, and when you start with one, you're likely to suck down this rabbit hole to doing many responses. It's better to build blocks of time into your day when you could really close your email program and do other work. And so for me, I check email twice a day, once in the morning and once in the afternoon. And I refrain from checking email any other times unless there's something that's urgent for me to be able to address. And so what times of the day do you go email free? And in the beginning, I would recommend you really put this into your calendar and create a very finite time where you will not check email. It's just for you to do very specific work. I mean, set it up like an appointment in your calendar and coach the people around you, your family, your friends, or your team about what you're doing and ask them for your support to help you to be able to produce more for your work, to produce more for your life. I strongly recommend that you choose the first part of the day, and I talked about this before about morning routines, right when you get into your office, not to check your email the first thing. Use that for focused work. And again, take everything I say with a grain of salt. Use it, apply it towards what's a priority for you. So this might not apply, but for many people, they don't have to check their email first thing. And once you start doing that, you train yourself to be reactive. Right? Our friend Brendan Burchard talks about an inbox as a convenient organizational system for other people's agenda for you. And so you don't want to start with other people's agenda. You want to have focus time on the things that matter most. We talked about in the last session how I don't touch email before I at least take care of one item on my to-do list. So I actually have a win and I start on something that's positive rather than something I have to react to. So if you're looking at the stats of some of the numbers people have, a lot of people spend a very huge portion of their days derailed by things that are urgent but not very important. These low value fires that could have waited time, it could have waited hours or even days for you to be able to handle, if they even need to be handled at all. And so that's the first thing, is to really set up email boundaries and make sure you respect them. Number 7, I would say, just as a quick tip, is to understand that every time you do quick email, that interruption radically diminishes your concentration and your flow on other higher value work that you could be doing. And the thing is, and we've talked about this before, you say to yourself, but it's only going to take me a couple of minutes to be able to scan my inbox. And I would, again, reinforce that that's not true. Sure, it takes only a couple minutes to maybe scan your inbox, but chances are, when you're there, you're going to do something. You're going to respond to a few of them that don't really need your attention. And it costs you very valuable minutes, if not more, to get, back into your pre-inbox scan flow. What's more is the faster you respond to an email, the faster you're going to get them back. And you create this vicious cycle. Number 8 is I would leverage not only the technology we talked about in the last episode, technology like Boomerang and Slack and such. I would also leverage people, meaning that if you happen to have a staff, if you happen to have a personal assistant, ask them to help you to be able to screen your email. The biggest excuse people have sometimes for checking their email usually goes like, what happens if an important client or team member or customer has a problem that they need me to help to solve it, and maybe it's important. If you think about this, the average person is checking their email how often? Who knows? Maybe it's 20 times a day. How many of those 20 times do you really uncover something that's really critical? And so what's important is, just like when I mentioned to be able to stand guard to your brain and keep it positive, you want to also protect your time and protect your focus and that of your team, if you have one, by leveraging other people to be able to screen and to be able to prioritize some of your communications. So maybe you have a team member, if you have access to a team member, check at least certain times of the day or certain days of the week to give you more of a solid high value creation focused time, and then they could help organize the information for you and put it where you could respond. Number 9, I would say, this is a big one for a lot of people I know, is stop using email to be able to manage your life, to manage your tasks, to keep open loops open for the things that you need to do. A lot of people use email as a project management tool. Email is not the place to do that. If you're going to do that, use a project list, use an Excel sheet or a Google chart, somewhere to be able to manage your tasks. Don't do it in your inbox. What comes today is really washed away by what comes the next day, and it's very hard to be able to keep up that way. And there are very simple, very inexpensive project management tools that are available online or mobile apps that allow you to list, be able to prioritize, categorize, even share open action items. And it's a really worthwhile investment into yourself to be able to prevent tasks and follow-ups from falling through, the cracks, if you will. So do not, this is the quick tip, do not use your inbox to be able to manage your to-do list. A lot of people will just keep it in their inbox open, unread, they'll mark it unread, saying they're going to come back to it, but it's not a really good way of filing and be able to prioritize and categorize your emails. And finally, what I want you to be able to do is number 10 is when you are doing emails, I find that a big mistake a lot of people make is they don't really have focused, clear, and compelling subject lines to really streamline the time it takes for you communicating with somebody, whether it's your family, your friends, your team, to be able to process it and also find these emails, right? No more blank subject lines or just subject lines that say hi. Instead, you and your team or whoever you're communicating with really should make subject lines very clear, concise descriptions. And this helps you to be able to screen messages. So this is great to be able to train people who are communicating with you also. So when you're on the receiving end, it helps you to screen messages and helps you to be able to later search for these emails so you don't waste time. Because if you need to be able to find these emails later, you have those key search terms that are there. And especially if you're forwarding emails, you don't have to be lazy. You could redo the subject line to make sense to the person you're forwarding to and ask them to be able to do the same. And so those are 5 more quick tips on how to be able to manage your inbox, to be able to mitigate the effects of constant bombardment and avalanche of emails that we get on a daily basis that really could hijack our productivity, could derail our focus and concentration. And so again, every single day, these little changes add up to big changes. These little changes lead up to big transformations, and they really add up in terms of the time that you save, the peace of mind that you have, the less stress. And so again, the goal should not be for you to be perfect at this. It's just, let's make your life a little bit easier every single day. And certainly some of these tips that we give you every single day take work. But the idea here is some of them have like a fixed cost. It takes a little bit more work in the beginning, but it saves you so much more time once you systemize it into a process, right? And that way you don't have to recreate the wheel. And once you process orient yourself, we talk about leveraging through team, we start about leveraging through technology, and also leveraging with systems, creating processes for yourself, and then duplicating those processes with the people that you work with, so you could really get the collective productivity and the collective focus increase and get all the benefits that come along with that. So thank you again for joining me for this lesson, and I can't wait to be sharing with you again tomorrow.